It was a gray morning in Maple Creek, the kind that wrapped the streets in a quiet chill. The leaves had started to turn amber, and the scent of coffee drifted out from Ellie's Diner, a small corner cafe where Emma worked every day after college. Emma Carter, a 23-year-old literature student, was known for her calm voice and kind smile. She wasn't the type to draw attention, yet everyone who met her remembered how she made them feel heard. But lately, her life had been anything but peaceful. Her father's small bookstore had been struggling since the big franchise store opened downtown. Every night, she'd stay up late helping him balance the numbers, hoping somehow they'd find a way to keep the doors open. Books were her father's dream, and her childhood sanctuary. Losing it felt like losing home. One afternoon, while she was stacking books, a man walked in, holding an old copy of The Great Gatsby. His name was Ryan Mitchell, a 26-year-old architect who had recently moved back to town after years in the city. His expression was thoughtful, eyes tracing the worn cover before looking up at her. "Do you restore books here?" he asked. "Sometimes," Emma said, brushing dust off her hands. "Depends on how much love they've lost." He smiled faintly. "This one's been through a lot." Ryan returned a few days later, not just for the book, but for her company. They began talking about stories, dreams, and the pressure of trying to save something that felt like it was already slipping away. Emma learned that Ryan had once designed community spaces but left after a project went wrong. He said he was trying to find meaning again. Their friendship deepened quietly, built on long talks, late-night coffee runs, and shared silences. Then one evening, everything changed. The landlord gave them a notice. The bookstore had 2 months left. Emma's father sat quietly behind the counter, his eyes tired. That night, Emma broke down for the first time in years. "I can't let this place disappear," she whispered. "It's all he has left." Ryan found her sitting outside the store later that night. "Then don't give up," he said gently. "I'll help you." She shook her head. "You've already done enough." "Emma," he said, kneeling beside her. "I'm not leaving this time. Whatever it takes, I'll be here. Don't stop believing that we can fix this." Tears filled her eyes, and she whispered, "Then don't stop helping me. Please, don't stop." It wasn't a plea for love, it was a plea for strength, for someone to stay when everything else felt like it was fading. From that day on, they worked side by side. Ryan used his architectural background to redesign the small space into something more inviting, a cafe and bookstore combined. Emma started a community reading program for children, gathering volunteers from the neighborhood. Slowly, word spread. The store that once stood on the edge of failure began to come alive again, laughter, coffee cups clinking, pages turning. Her father's eyes lit up each morning when he saw people walk in again. Months later, during the reopening celebration, Emma stood at the counter and looked around, at her father smiling behind the register, at children reading on beanbags, at Ryan arranging flowers near the window. When she caught his gaze, she mouthed a quiet "thank you." He smiled and said softly, "You begged me not to stop, and I didn't." Emma laughed, shaking her head. And thank goodness for that. That night, as the town gathered around the little bookstore that had somehow become the heart of Maple Creek again, Emma realized that sometimes, the people who walk into our lives during our hardest moments are the ones who remind us what it means to keep going. She never forgot the moment she asked Ryan not to stop, because it wasn't about saving a bookstore anymore. It was about never giving up on something worth believing in. Years later, the sign above the door still read Carter and Company. Books, but now below it, a smaller sign hung, designed with heart by Ryan Mitchell. Whenever visitors asked about the story behind the name, Emma would smile and say, "It started with a promise, one that neither of us ever stopped keeping."